Korean Wong, your news anchor for China News. Today, the Chinese ambassador have decided to...
Green, this is Girl Talk.
Oh, it's Girl Talk?
It's Girl Talk.
Switch gears. Hi, welcome to Girl Talk. This is Korean Wong, your host of our new podcast series. Girl Talk focuses on relationships, whether it's at work, at home, or in your personal life. Yes, I'm going to attack those very juicy topics that we all think about and talk about, but we don't exactly seek maybe the right advice. We go to our girlfriends and girl talk it and try to figure it out among ourselves, which is fine. I mean, it's normal, especially when it happens more often than not. So I totally get it. What I'm going to do for you is provide you a podcast series where I highlight 3 important practical tips so that when you do go home and have to encounter that conflict, you know exactly what to do. These tips are effective, they're easy to remember, and they're applicable to almost every situation, whether it's at work, home, or in your personal life, like with your boyfriend or girlfriend. So, first of all, you all know that relationships are wonderful. You know, when they're good, life is good, everything's great. You're celebrating your milestones and your birthdays, and now the holidays are coming out. You have someone to bring home to and, have Thanksgiving with or Christmas with or Hanukkah. Unfortunately, that same relationship, the same one you're bragging about and gushing about, is now your worst nightmare. Oh my goodness. How is it possible? Because we're all different. We're born different. We have different beliefs, different ideas. Even the way we communicate is different. So it's no wonder that conflicts happen more often than not. But, our goal is to mitigate and reduce the frequency of these conflicts. So I'm going to do it with my strategies. I do from based on my experience as a clinical manager for over like 10 years. And now I'm my own boss of my own company. So I have my fair share of conflicts, but it's all good. I mean, there's no such thing as a conflictless relationship, right? No such thing. So it's going to happen, but you just have to be able to know what to do. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Kareen, I already know what to do. I read all the books. I read Glamour. I read all the advice columns, and my girlfriends tell me what to do. Okay. And I think that's great. I think that's good to always educate yourselves and how to improve the way you handle your business. The problem, though, is that when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're in the middle of this, what is going to look like a brawl, you will forget everything you learned, everything that you remember reading, what your girlfriends told you. And so everything that people tell you, you forget. You start name calling. You start saying profane language and maybe throwing jabs and then punches and pushbacks. Oh my goodness. If it gets physical, you've gone too far. That's why reading self-help books and advice columns, magazines, they're good to an extent. But when it happens, when you're in the middle of a conflict, in the middle of an argument or fight, yeah, all bets are out the door. You forget everything. And so we're going to tie it back to the podcast. What can Dr. Wong tell you? Again, I'm a pharmacist, not an expert therapist. I am a pharmacist with lots of background in managerial type situations. So that is my where I'm coming from. Last week, we had a very juicy topic. If you were able to tune in, it was called, What Would You Do If Someone Picked a Fight with You? Oh, how many times are you involved in that? If you found that relatable, definitely go back and tune in to episode number 2 and find out what would you do if you felt you were attacked by someone else and they wanted to start a fight with you. Today's topic is going to be the other side, another juicy topic. What would you do if you had a bone to pick with? Like you have a problem with someone and you want to confront them. In other words, you want to start the fight. You want to bring it up. And I'm telling you that this is not going to be a comfortable conversation. It's not something that's going to be like, hey, what's up, girl? Why'd you say that about me? No, it's not. So that's our topic today. And I'm going to give you 3 great take-home messages, tips that you can take with you and use it in every in most every situation. Okay. First of all, when you're in when you feel troubled because you heard something about you that was unsavory, or there was email written about you that was not good, and this all came from someone that's close to you, not like a customer. No, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone like a coworker or your bestie or your boyfriend or girlfriend. So someone close to you in your world. When you see something unsavory, when you hear something unsavory, you're like, what's the first reaction you get? If you all said, "Oh, I'm pretty pissed. I am heated. I am mad as hell," then you answer correctly. Okay? Because no one likes to be, trash talk. No one wants to be thrown on the bus, but that's gonna happen because again, we had different beliefs, different ways of communicating. What are you gonna do? Yell at them? I know you want to. I know that's probably the first thing you wanna do is go, "Hey, man, what'd you say about me? That's totally untrue, bitch." I know you wanna say that, but we can't do that. It's not the best way to approach that problem. It's actually very, I don't wanna say juvenile, but it's immature, okay? So we don't wanna regress back to the high school days or, uh, you know, beyond that. We don't want to do that. We are adults. We should handle this in a professional manner. So my whole podcast is about how we deal with that very sticky subject, but in a very professional way. And it can be done. And you're like, "Oh, is that possible, Green?" Yeah, it's actually not that hard. It's your approach. It's business. It's never personal. When you hear something unsavory about you, it's not personal. I mean, it sounds personal because someone from you love, but it's not. We're going to approach this from a business point of view. Like, it's not about me, it's about what you think of me and how we can fix that problem. Okay. So try to take yourself out of the equation and come into conflict with uh, I would say, calm, professional. Let's shoot the breeze. Let's find out why you said what you said. Okay. So that's the approach. And you're probably thinking, I'm not doing that. That's way too like hard. I'm gonna do the other way. Now there are two other ways that you can approach that person. Trust me, they're not good. That's why I don't really want to like encourage those behaviors. But if you must know, there are two other ways. The first way is taking the high road, being the bigger person, being that person that says, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna forget all about it. It's no big deal, or they're just bitching. It means nothing to me. Okay, you couldn't do that. If you couldn't do it, kudos to you, applause to you. I give you lots of credit. But let me tell you, it's practically impossible when you internalize your anger, when you decide to just put it under the rug and forget about it and let it go like your girlfriends tell you to, what's going to end up happening is that all that anger builds up. It doesn't go away. It actually builds, kind of like a pain receptor. It just builds and builds and builds. And so soon you're in a lot of pain. You're in a lot of agony because you're so pissed. You stifled that anger for so long. And soon, about 4 or 5 months, you're going to have insomnia, irritability. You might even come to your doctor with like a stomach ulcer because you have so much acid output in your stomach. These are not what I think. These are is gonna happen. Physiologically speaking, when you have more anxiety, you actually drive more of the adrenaline in your body and the more acid output. So that's common sense. But my point here is that if you take the high road, it sounds lovely. Sounds like a lovely road to take, but it's not good for you for your mental health. It's not good for you for your body's health. So I don't recommend it. I think that if you know for a fact that someone said something bad about you or did something wrong to you, and you know for a fact, then you should confront them. I think you should do that. And that would help you take off that anger off of your body. Okay. So don't internalize it, confront them. But don't take the high road, okay? So high road is not the best way to go, okay, for those reasons I said. The second alternative, you're thinking, "What can I do now?" You can attack them, like, literally be aggressive and go up to them and go, "Yo, bitch, I heard you said this about me. Did ya? Did ya? Ooh, that is not good. Unless you're in a reality TV show, don't do it. Okay. I don't advocate an aggressive approach. That approach, as you can tell on TV, always leads to disaster. Always. It can't end on friendly terms. If you do it that way, if you get so upset and you can't control it and you attack the other person, whether it's physically, verbally, by using snide remarks or name calling or profanity, you're either going to dissolve that relationship or change your relationship so much to the point where you're almost like strangers. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine your husband or boyfriend becoming a stranger to you or going from a husband to a roommate kind of relationship? Oh, it is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. So think about that before you open your mouth, before you want to just pounce on them and say, "Hey, I heard you did this. Did ya? Did ya?" Okay. So don't do that. No attacks. So what's the third way? What's the best way, Kareem? The best way is to confront with conversation. All right, what's that? Confronting with conversation is literally that. You are going to address the issue. That's confrontation, but you're going to do it in a conversational style. It's very difficult to do. I won't lie to you. But the good thing about it is that you have time because you're the one that wants to bring it up. So you have time to figure out what you want to say and how you want to say it. That's the best part about it. So after you calm down, after you decided I'm going to talk to them, you need to now channel in your Jedi energy to hone it on your temper and not let it escalate. Channel in that hostility, the anger that you may feel. Because as you are leading this conversation, you are going to be the first person that's going to be heated, upset, and things start happening on your end. So you need to just keep it cool. I know it's hard because it's about you and it's hurtful because from someone that you love, someone that's close to you. So it's too close to home. And that's why you feel the way you feel. I totally understand. That's why this technique is difficult, but like I said, it can be done. This is the part where you just sit down and think, all right, I have a problem with my boss. I'll give you an example. And this actually did happen to me, so it's very relatable. I was a clinical manager at the hospital, and I found out from somebody, my boss, my clinical boss, that my superior, we'll call her Catherine, was taking credit for my work. Oh my God. Right? How are you doing that? Well, what happened was I was delivering my reports to my boss, which is a different department, and she would take my same report, delete my name, and claim it as her own and give it to her boss, which is the corporate headquarters. Okay, so these are the CFOs and CEOs, and they were the big wigs. Oh, so my boss in my department said, "Did you know that this is happening? We have an email trail that she said this, that this is hers, but I know it's yours because you sent the same copy to me and you're the one that did it." So it was my writing, it was my study. Okay, that was pretty hurtful. So first of all, I decided that I'm pretty upset. I found out about this and I need to confront her because it's my boss. I can't work for someone who does this, or can I? So I had to make those decisions pretty quickly. All right. So once I calmed myself down, I had about, I think, a week to think about what I want to do. And then the whole week, I'm like fake smiling. I'm like, "Oh, hi, Catherine. How's it going? Want some coffee?" Yeah. I pretend like nothing happened. And she pretended like nothing happened either. Like I didn't know what's going on. Fair enough. She didn't know because it was my boss that told me about what had happened. So she didn't know that I knew that she was taking my work for her credit. Anyways, so for the whole week, I was hot and bothered. I was very upset. And I wanted so many times to go in her office and yell at her and quit on the spot. I want to do all those things. Now, that's the first gut reaction I have. Okay. Now, I was a young person. I was like 27 when this happened. And so, I can find a job anywhere else. I don't need her. But, I thought this is a job. I can't just quit because of one instance. Other than her, everything was fine. I love where I worked. I love the company. I love my team. I love what I did. And so I didn't want to leave in a minute's notice because of what she did, even though it's not good and unethical, right? But it's not against the law. It's just unethical. So after a week of, thinking about what I want to do, I called her into our office. Okay, we share the same office, which is very uncomfortable. And I said, "Hey, Catherine, do you have a moment?" All right. So that's the first thing you want to do is to declare the time to conversate, to have this conversation. So I would not do this early in the morning when she's settling in. I would not do it when someone's upset. I would not do it when someone's about to go to bed. So you got to find the right time. Usually like after 2 p.m. is a great time because they've had lunch, they're pretty chill, and they're ready to go home. So I took the 2 o'clock hour to discuss this topic that bothered me for quite some time. Catherine, can we talk? Oh, sure. What's up? So we sit down and I said, after closing the doors, I said, "Okay, Catherine, do you remember that report that I sent to you last month?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, I remember that." I said, "I know that you took that report and said that you created it. I have evidence that you did this." Now, that's the second part of this conversation. You must have evidence to support what you're saying. If you confront someone with conversation with a hearsay, a gossip, something you think happened, that is not good. If you think it happened, you cannot confront them because there's nothing to confront. You only confront when you know for a fact that this had happened. So this was like easy because I had an email trail. So I was able to show to her without evidence, without a doubt that she was in the wrong. It was not, you can't argue that. Okay. That's the whole point of this. So, point number 2 is to present evidence that she cannot argue, that she cannot talk her way out of. It's clear as ice. You did this. It's in black and white. Well, because the first thing they're going to do, and they always do this, okay, the other person always deny, or they feign ignorance. I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't remember that. I didn't do that. And all that just will infuriate you even more. So expect this to happen. Expect them to deny. Expect it. Okay. But don't pay attention to it. Like you know it's going to happen. They're going to do it. If you believe them, you're going to be more upset because you have it in your hand. You have a black and white message that said this. So you have to be like a lawyer and go, you know what? You can deny all you want, but the facts is this. You did do it, and I don't like it. So you have to go back to the evidence and say, I know you don't think you did it, or you can't remember, or you think someone else did it. Okay, that's what you say, but the evidence is still there. They're still going to deny. Doesn't matter. Okay. The point now is that you open the conversation to talk about that issue. So the issue here is that someone took credit for your work. What do you do at this point? Well, now you have an opportunity to discuss the problems. And during this conversation, Catherine was saying to me that she doesn't remember doing it. And then after I kept going back to the evidence, I said, well, here it is. It's dated. Here's your email address. Here's what you said. And that's when she stopped and said, okay, I don't really think of it as taking credit for your work. I just think I was doing my job as your boss. Ooh. And I'm pretty upset. Okay. So I'm like fuming here, but I did not let it get to me. I did not let it get under my skin. She's trying to defend herself, right? No one wants to be attacked. So she's defending herself by saying what she said. She felt she was completely in the right. In her mind, in Catherine's world, what she did was not wrong. She was just doing what's best for the company. And then she went on about how she was trying to like make the department look better and not me, but make the whole department. It's a team effort, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you notice I wasn't really paying attention after that sentence, right? She just did a lot of talking. Doesn't matter. So at that point, I said to her, and I let her know, but let her be known I was not happy with it. I said, well, I don't appreciate what you did. I understand it, but I don't appreciate it. I don't think it's right. So you can express your opinion and let her know that what she did was not ethical and you don't agree with it. And then at the very end, tip number 3, you have to end the conversation because conversation's got to end sometime, right? If you let it go on, it will go nowhere. Okay. It's going to go back into the vicious cycle. So you need to say, once you say what you need to say, once you let her know how you felt about the report, then you can say, you know what? All right, we're going to stop now. And now you're going to say, from this point forward, I need you to understand I don't appreciate what you did. And this, it doesn't make me happy. And you can do it, but I'm not happy about that. So you're basically saying that I know why you're doing it. I know about it. I'm not happy with it. And that's it. You don't have to say, well, okay, from this point forward, I'm quitting. Or from this point forward, I'm no longer doing your work. You can't do that because it's work, work is work. You can't really compromise too much on work, especially in this situation. So if you can compromise and say, like, okay, from this point forward, can you not say that this is your work? Can you say this is the work of the whole team and Kareem's a leader? You can say something like that. Give me some credit, you know? If you can compromise, do it. So a best way to end a conflict or a conversation is to end it with a statement about what you're going to do, about what needs to happen between you two. Okay? It has to be an agreement between you two. So if they don't agree, well, I guess you're back to square one, right? So, like I said, you can say, hey, Catherine, how about in the future in your emails, can you not say this is from my work, but this is from the efforts of the entire department? Kareem's a leader of it. She's the one that created the charts. Say something to that extent. Can you do that? If she says no, then you can say, all right, then. I guess there's nothing to compromise anymore. I guess we can end the conversation and end it. Get up and walk away. Now you're thinking, all right, so what, Kareen? I confronted my boss. They not going to change. It pisses me off. What can happen? Now you have to make the very hard decision of whether or not you want to stay with the company or leave the company. If you don't respect or even like, was it agree with the ideals of your boss, of your management, yeah, you need to leave because it's going to conflict with your internal own set of beliefs and standards. Okay. So you should always work for someone that you agree with. Okay. You don't have to love them. I don't love Catherine, by the way. I don't think I mean like her very much, but what's important here was I didn't agree with her standards. I didn't agree with what she did as a colleague, as a director, didn't agree with it. And even though my job was great, I made the decision to make an exit out in 2 years, which I did. Okay. So it did take me a while, but the whole time, yeah, for the next 2 years, she took credit for her work. She did. She continued doing it. But at least in my mind, I felt pretty good because I got it off my chest. Yay! I'm no longer pissed. I'm no longer angry. She knew where I stood. She knew I knew what she was doing. She didn't agree with me. Okay. You're entitled to your beliefs, but she's boss lady. So she can do pretty much whatever she likes to within reason, right? And HR didn't see a problem with this one. It's more of unethical behaviors. The only reason why it took me 2 years to quit was because you know what? I know I did the report. My boss in my department knows I did report, and he told everyone in corporate that I did report because it was on email. In a way, I kind of felt, well, why would I quit now? Because everyone knows the truth. And for me, that was good enough. It doesn't matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter what the boss guy at in Texas thinks. It doesn't matter, right? I don't care. As long as I know I did the work, she knows I did the work, my boss in my department did the work, that's all that matters. So you have to go down to if you're how important is that job to you? What's important to you? And for me at that point, it was her taking credit for my work, for her going, "Hey, I did this report. It's awesome. I did it." And I was like, "No, you didn't do that. You didn't do it." But I got the credit I deserved. I got it in a roundabout way. And that's why I didn't quit right away. I was angry, but not that angry. So to sum up, let's go back one more step here, or two more steps. What are the 3 tips? First, you have to confront with confrontation. You start it by setting a declaration like, we are going to have a conversation. Catherine, do you have a moment? Can we talk? I know every guy who's listening to this podcast is like shuddering when he hears the word, honey, can we talk? Yeah, it's true. That is our way of saying we have something to talk about. It is not going to be comfortable. It's not a fun, playful conversation. It's not going to be comfortable at all. And it starts with, can we talk? But at least it lets everyone know in the room that whatever you're going to say is not going to be happy, that we need to be serious about it. Number 2, we are going to bring up the evidence. Okay. So that's how you start. So, Catherine, I heard or saw that you took credit for my work. Okay. So you have to put out a statement of what your concern is. That was the concern. She took credit for your work. And they're going to say a lot of stuff in the middle between the evidence and the time of the end of conversation. I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember this. That's usually what happens. They become defensive. Okay. So that they can show you they didn't do it or think they can fool you for the next 5 minutes they didn't do it. That's not going to work because it's right in front of them, right? And then finally, you're just gonna go, you know what? That's fine. You don't remember this. I have it there. So based on this evidence, can we compromise? Can we have you put me somewhere in the credits? Or maybe when you talk to corporate, not to say that you did it all by your lonesome. Now, it can go either way. She can say yes or no, right? If she says yes, great. You end the conversation with a conclusion, with a solution, so that this will avoid future conflicts, right? So next time this happens, she knows what to do. But if she says no, which can happen, then it can get sticky. You can either dissolve the relationship where you're going to quit, or the relationship will change. Okay, in a bad way, in an opposite way. So that's one example of a conflict, okay? And the reason why this topic is very intense is because it can lead to 2 things. Either you save your relationship and it's fine, or you dissolve it. Well, that's bad. I mean, who wants to lose a boyfriend before the holidays, right? Who wants to be divorced or separated before the holidays or at any time, right? And the third way is the relationship changes to be estranged. So that boyfriend or girlfriend that you're with is no longer your boyfriend or girlfriend, but they're now the roommate. And once the roommate, now they're just a friend. Now they're just an acquaintance. And now they're a stranger who moved out of the state. Okay. So that's why this topic is very tricky to deal with, because it can end up in a bad way. But with my tips, you can salvage it. Okay, you can salvage. I mean, can you imagine if I walked into my boss's office or our office and said, "Yo, bitch, I heard you took credit for my work. What's up with that?" Okay. She'll probably say, "You need to pack up and go because you're fired." That would happen. Oh, that's no good. I didn't get to say what I want to say. I didn't solve anything, and I lost a job that I was really good at. So you can see how it can escalate very quickly. That's why it's important to sit down with me and think about, okay, I have a situation where someone did this to me. I was wrong by them. They threw me in the bus. I need to confront them. I can't hold it in, which I just told you you shouldn't, right? So don't take the high road and hold it in. Don't attack them. Don't attack them. Don't go at them and say bad names and below the belt things like the F word, the S word, the C word, a lot of different words you can say, or even using snide remarks about their mama. Okay, don't do that. Okay, those are below the belt type things we don't want to do because it's going to escalate. And then, yeah, by keeping yourself in check, and whenever you feel like, oh my God, I'm getting hot under the collar, I really want to punch her in the face, and this I felt that way too. Trust me, I did. You really got to take deep breaths. Okay. I will tell you right now that whenever you feel out of control, it's because there's not enough oxygen in your brain. So take deep breaths. I know it sounds silly. It's not a meditation thing. It's really you're driving more O2 to your brain sensors. So please take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, and you're good. Once you have oxygen in your brain, you're more calm. You're physically more calm. Physiologically speaking, you're more calm. So I'm actually giving you medical advice here at this point. So take deep breaths. 3 breaths is good. Last thing you want to do is hyperventilate, right? Don't hyperventilate. Don't hypoventilate. Breathe. Take in deep breaths and breathe out the CO2. Breathe in O2, out CO2 3 times. And that's enough oxygen to increase your oxygen saturation. All right. And that will calm down your nerves and make you a little, when you're more calmer, you're able to be yourself and approach this from a practical, professional point of view. All right, then. We had covered our 3 tips for the day in situations where you want to confront someone about a very uncomfortable topic. You can do this, right? And again, don't forget that we start with the opening, the evidence, and then we're going to end with a summary sentence like, let's agree to agree. This. One of my best summary sentences is when I have a fight with a family member. You live with them, right? You can't exactly divorce them, right? I remember we had a fight before and she said, I don't like you. I said, I don't like you either. And she kept going on and on about why she didn't like me, which kind of spanned over 10 years. And I said to her, you know what? We're going to stop. And this is my summary sentence. And it's awesome. I said, you know what? Let's agree to agree that we disagree, right? So we agree to disagree. We don't like each other, and we probably never will. So, brilliant sentence. And guess what? We're still family. We're still family. I don't like her. She don't like me, but we agree to disagree. We don't like each other, right? We just don't like each other. We disagreed on so many issues. You can't fix it overnight. And I don't think we ever will. For the sake of family, we agree to be civil. And that's what happened. 10 years later, she's still in my life, and we're fine. She still hates me. It's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I'm good. I don't like her either. It's all good. Well, that's a wrap. You'll find our links in the show notes. You can find me on LinkedIn/GuiltlessGirl. That's my code name, Guiltless Girl, because I am the owner of Guiltless Treats. Find me there. You can find this amazing podcast on any podcast player that you listen to, whether it's Speaker, Spotify, iTunes, you name it, I'm on there. Or even YouTube, because it's live. Thank you guys. I will see you next week for another juicy topic. That's a wrap.